In the beginning, there was no money, only the toil of human hands and the bounty of the earth. Man bartered with man, trading the fruit of his labor for the fruit of another's. A shepherd with a surplus of wool would seek a fisherman with a surplus of fish, and an exchange would be made, each according to his need. But this system was cumbersome, a tangled web of wants and coincidences. So, humanity sought a better way. They imbued value into objects of rarity and beauty, gleaming shells, polished stones, and finally, metals wrested from the deep places of the world. This was the dawn of money, a common language of value, a tool to measure work, and a vessel to carry wealth across the seasons. It was a promise, tangible and true, held in the palm of a hand. As civilizations grew and kingdoms rose, this promise began to change. Rulers and sovereigns saw the power held within these metals. They took the raw gold and silver, stamped them with their own image, and declared them the coin of the realm. This was a pivotal moment, a shift from value found in nature to value decreed by authority. The weight of the metal still mattered, but it was now intertwined with the might of the state. Eventually, the metal itself was set aside. In its place came paper, a proclamation from the government that this note, backed by nothing but its own decree, was to be accepted as payment for all debts. This was the birth of fiat currency, a system built not on physical worth, but on collective belief and the power of the government that issued it. With this new power, governments became the architects of economic destiny. They established great houses of finance, modern-day temples where high priests of economy central bankers would convene. Through arcane rituals known as monetary policy, they could conjure money from thin air, influencing the very rhythm of commerce. By lowering the cost of borrowing the interest rate, they could encourage expansion in debt. By raising it, they could contract the flow of capital. The printing press, now a digital ledger, became a tool to fund wars, build monuments, and manage the vast and ever-growing national debt. This new magic, however, came with a shadow: inflation, a silent thief that erodes the value of savings, making the money earned today worth less tomorrow. For the common citizen, this grand economic machinery often feels like an inescapable force, a leviathan of immense power. The fruits of their labor, once traded directly, are now first rendered unto the state in the form of taxes, a tribute to sustain the system. They are born into a world of pre-existing debt, a burden passed down from one generation to the next. The cycles of boom and bust, orchestrated from the halls of power, ripple through their lives, determining whether they find work or stand in line for bread. The farmer tilling his field, the merchant in the marketplace, the laborer in the workshop all are subject to these economic tides. Their financial freedom constrained by decisions made in distant chambers they will never enter. Therefore, we must not walk through this world in ignorance. We must seek to understand the nature of the systems that govern our lives, to pull back the curtain on the mechanics of money and power. The path to true sovereignty begins not with revolution, but with revelation, with the clarity to see the financial world for what it is. By educating ourselves, by questioning the decrees handed down from on high, and by making conscious choices about how we earn, save, and spend, we reclaim a measure of the freedom that was once our birthright. For in the kingdom of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, and in a world of financial complexity, knowledge is the key to the throne of your own life.